Good morning. Hope everyone's having a great morning. Oh, sticky hair. All right, let's go live in the groups. Let's double check. Awesome. Let's go live here. Let's go live there. Let's go live everywhere. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're doing excellent today. We are Tuesday, day 2 of the week. It's another day to dominate and get through your absolute best. As you know, Tuesday morning is 30 questions in 30 minutes. Basically, the top 30 questions from last week we got asked in the academy, and I also got asked online, and I put them together and make a nice little 30-minute segment where I kind of will cover nutrition, training, bit of mindset and recovery. I think they're the most important things when it comes to going on a health journey. So if you are joining me live, say hello. Send a message through if you like. I can't see any comments that come through on Facebook. I'm sorry. So I'll have to double look. Hey, good morning, Renee. Good morning, Julie. How are you? I can see those pop up because I'm looking at another screen, but anywhere else, I'm absolutely screwed. So hopefully this is coming through to most of you, which it should be. Anyway, let's start. If you've got any questions you want to ask me live, please drop them in the chat and I'll get to them. If not, send me a DM and I'll answer them for you another time. So yeah, let's get started. If you do have any questions you want to ask before I get started, please fire away. But I just want to cover as much as I can in the 30 minutes. Okay, how do I know if I'm eating enough protein? First indication is your farts are really, really bad. That's mine. That's generally the indication for me that I'm eating enough protein. So if we are on a fat loss journey or a muscle building journey, we're going to aim for like 1.2 to 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per kilo of target body weight. So if you're 150 and your target's 100, let's go for 200 grams of protein per day. Does that make sense? I don't expect you to do 250 grams of protein or 350 grams of protein. If you're a bigger person, that doesn't make any sense at all. So target body weight, 1.5 to 2 grams per target body weight. Try and include a protein source with every meal. That's one good way of ensuring that you're going to get enough protein per day. Hey, Simone, how are you? If you're feeling full and generally recovering well from your workouts, it's a good indication that you're eating enough protein. Okay. Like that's one of the things people neglect the most is they say, how do I know if I'm eating enough? It's like generally you're feeling really good after your workout sessions. But the only real way to know is to track. So make sure you're using something like MyFitnessPal to make sure that you're tracking all your protein. So the only way you're going to know is if you track. It's like anything in life. If you want to get better at something, you've got to be accountable for it and track it. Okay, so that's how I would do it. Are smoothies actually healthy or do they have too much sugar? Hilarious question. Anything is healthy in moderation, in my opinion. Okay, anything. So smoothies are actually really high in calories, depending on how you make them. If you go to Boost Juice or something like that, everyone goes, "I'm going to have a healthy, what do they call them? Sorry, smoothie." Mate, if you look at the calories for most of those smoothies, especially Boost Juice, they're up there around the 800 to 900 calories. So it's kind of like a meal and a half. So if we have that instead of lunch and afternoon tea, it's going to fit in your calories quite well. But in terms of are they actually healthy? Yeah, anything's healthy. Like I said, it's mostly natural fruits and a bit of juice and stuff in there anyway. So it's pretty good on that level. If you're wary of your sugar, then I would be erring on the side of caution with those, depending on what you get in it. But like for me, I make my own smoothies. I add protein. I put oats in it. I avoid using milk if I can, or maybe I'll use oat milk or almond milk or something like that just to lower the calories down, or some skim milk. But to me, if you're going to have a smoothie, make it at home because you'll be able to control the calories that you put into it. Okay. If you're going somewhere else, you're not going to know the calories unless you sit there and plug it into MyFitnessPal and work it out. How do I stop snacking when I'm not hungry? It's generally boredom. So find something to do first. Most of the time, snacking is due to boredom. Okay. Having enough water does help. It really does help curb a lot of the cravings by filling yourself up. the triggers are the ones that you've got to identify if you're snacking constantly. Is it boredom? Is it you think you're hungry? Maybe you are thirsty. Most people who are dehydrated think they're hungry. That's one of the big things with fat loss. So make sure you're having enough liquids in your diet. Keep the nasty snacks out of sight. Have healthy snacks on hand. Like, again, we're talking about fat loss. Have healthy snacks on hand. So, carrot sticks and cucumber and all that stuff is really, really good in terms of healthier snacks. So you can snack and graze a little bit better. But it's generally from boredom. Okay, most of us are eating snacks because we're bored. We got nothing to do, so we just sit there and we go, oh, I think I'm hungry, rather than having some water or getting up and moving. What's the best way to add fiber to my diet? Obviously, eating enough fresh fruit and veggies is the best way. Okay, it really, really is. If you aren't getting enough fiber because you don't eat enough fresh fruit and veggies, then we can start adding in things like flax seeds or chia seeds and things like that. They're really, really good in terms of the calorie versus protein ratio, fiber ratio. So adding more beans and lentils and stuff like that into your diet are very, very fiber packed as well. But for me, it's like I would rather have it through plenty of fresh fruit and vegetables. So when we're on a high protein diet, protein takes the longest out of the three macros to break down. So you need something to help it, and fiber is in there along with water as well that will help it break down a fair bit. So we've got to make sure we're having plenty of water as well. Should I avoid fats if I'm trying to lose weight? No. Healthy fats are super important for keeping you full and overall health. Avocados, nuts, seeds, olive oils, stuff like that, in moderation, obviously. The problem with most healthy fats, they are very calorie high. So we have to make sure that we're controlling those. Portions are very, very important, but don't take them out of your diet. Okay, there's a reason why fats is one of the three macros, because we need it. What's the healthiest way to cook vegetables? That's a great question. I think in the way you like them the most, and avoiding as much creams and additives as possible. Obviously, steaming is probably the best way to preserve most of the nutrients. Roasting's pretty good. I like roasting vegetables because you can add a bit of herbs and spices and make them nice and crunchy. Sauteing or stir frying is limiting the oil again. But raw veggies, man, who out there has, like, I love raw zucchini and I love the stalk of the broccoli raw. I know, call me a freak, but I absolutely love it. I love cutting it all off. I even air fry it sometimes, the broccoli, into little chips. It's really, really good. And a bit of hummus on the top. Tastes really cool. Are artificial sweeteners bad for you? They're pretty much safe in moderation, okay? And they're good for an alternative to sugar, because sugar is probably one of the biggest killers out there other than heroin and all that stuff. So we've got to make sure that we have it in moderation, okay? So some people can experience some discomfort with having artificial sweeteners, so everyone's different, but it's like anything. Just limit your consumption. Use it as a sweetening agent, not as a substitute for adding it to absolutely everything. If we can get it through fruits, which is, I would say, the best type of sugars you can have, that's great. But obviously, who's going to drop a strawberry in their coffee, right? How do I eat more mindfully? Okay, for me, it's removing distractions. Obviously, the phone and TV and all that stuff. Is having meals with your family is really, really good in terms of eating mindfully, because you get to spend time with them, also enjoying a good meal. The old chew slowly and savor each bite. I mean, who has time for that? Who's going to, chew one piece of meat 38 times? It ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. So mindful eating is about enjoying the process and thinking and feeling what you're eating. It's like lifting weights and mind to muscle connection, right? We want to make sure we're targeting the right area. So yeah, chewing slow is boring, Lukey. 100%, man. 100%. It is boring. So yeah, I don't believe in that stuff. So for me, it's just, I would rather eat my food without distractions. So that way I know and feel like I'm actually eating the right amount of food. Is it okay to skip breakfast? Yes. If you don't like breakfast and you don't feel like you need breakfast, skip breakfast. As long as you get your calorie intake per day, I don't care how you get your calorie intake per day, as long as you get it. That's the important part. So if breakfast isn't important, skip it. If lunch isn't important, skip it. If you can handle being hungry, go for your life. It's just balancing the rest of your day out. I don't care if you eat all your however many calories you're on per day between 8 p.m. and 12 p.m. It doesn't matter as long as you get it in per day. What matters is your calories and protein in per day. It doesn't matter when you have it. So yeah, you can skip breakfast if you like. For me, I like to refuel after I train, and generally that's in the morning. So I make sure I have a decent breakfast so I can refuel. That's how I kind of look at things. What are some easy ways to meal prep on a budget? All right, cool. Beans, rice, eggs, and seasonal vegetables are usually your good options in terms of lower cost. Okay. If we go for stuff out of season, the prices are generally jacked up a fair bit. Buying your meat in bulk, if you can, generally helps a lot. Frozen fish and frozen prawns are very, very good. There's nothing wrong with them. Yes, they do come out very watery once they've thawed, but on the weekend, I chucked in frozen prawns and frozen calamari and a bit of frozen fish in the air fryer with some vegetables and some seasoning, and I air fried it for about 12 minutes, and it came out absolutely beautiful. All the water went to the bottom, just emptied that out afterwards. So there's nothing wrong with that. Frozen vegetables are quite good as well to have in the freezer on hand, and you can just steam them really, really quick. But for me, it's all about cooking in batches or buying in bulk, so you can save plenty of money. I've got 3 young boys at home that eat like horses. So for me, it's about buying as much as I can in bulk so I can save as much money as possible in that area. So yeah, best thing is to do is buy in bulk and meal prep ahead of time. All right, let's get into some training. What's the best way to improve my push-up strength? All right, like anything, it's doing more of it. Okay, doing more of it, but starting nice and easy. If you are starting out and never done a push-up before, obviously on your knees is the best place to start, or an incline, maybe on a bench. Excuse me, take a little bit of the weight off, and then going into some form of negative type of push up where we're going decreasing down really, really slowly and then resetting to the top. And then after that, it's basically going through the motion of, maybe repping out 1 or 2 decent ones on your toes and then rinse and repeat until you can get to 5 into 10 into 15 into 20. So consistency over time, it's like lifting weights. That's the only way you're going to get stronger. Okay. How do I prevent shoulder pain when lifting? Very hard to not have shoulder pain if you are a chronic in that area. For me, it's about proper warm up or dynamic sort of stretching. I'm not a big fan of dynamic. I'm more of a fan of mimicking the movements I'm going to do during that session. So if I'm, for example, having a shoulder session, I will do light weights as a warm up on my shoulders. Okay. I'm not there doing the old chicken wings in the corner. I use bands to fully mobile my shoulder to move it around. And then I'll go into some really lightweight overhead presses and things like that. So for me, it's more important of mimicking the exercise on a lighter weight rather than actually going in and doing all these jumping jacks and all that shit. So I'm not a big fan of that. Yeah, it sure is. Adam, warming the rotator cuff is a big one, man. And warming it up correctly as well, because I see a lot of people doing these with dumbbells and you're not giving it enough resistance on the way back. So using a band where you've got force coming back and forward both ways is much more beneficial than just grabbing a dumbbell and doing it that way. I'm a big fan of shoulder warm-ups. I do use a band reverse and I do pull my shoulder forward a fair bit, which helps open up all my front of my muscles here as well. So cable machine. Yep, totally cool. That's totally fine. As long as you got some form of resistance both ways, not just one way, because it's not doing anything. It's really just there for a bit of show. Don't go too heavy too fast and ease into it, because shoulder exercises, your shoulders aren't a massive muscle. It's a big lift, but it's not a massive muscle. There's a heap of smaller muscles that makes up your shoulder. So going heavy really, really quick is going to do some damage. Shoulder is my weaker area of my upper body, so I find it really hard doing overhead stuff. I have got really limited range of mobility from a lot of cycling and that as well, so I've got to work on opening up my chest as well as just my shoulders. So it's not just your shoulders; it's opening up, your traps, your chest area as well at the same time. Is it normal to feel stronger on one side of my body? 100%. Everyone has a dominant side. We're not all ambidextrous, like we can use both hands or both arms. So, yeah, it's definitely normal. The way to combat that is doing unilateral work. And what unilateral means, one arm at a time or one limb at a time or one area at a time. Okay, really, really good to mix it up. I like to do 4 weeks of strength training and then a week of unilateral to sort of iron out some creases, and then I will figure out where I'm weak at. But during my strength training side of things, I'm a big fan of using dumbbells rather than a barbell, because again, then I can figure out what's my weaker side and work on that as well. So unilateral is the best way to strengthen those areas, or going back to bands and things like that. So your weaker side is going to be the determining factor of how much weight you can actually lift. What's the best way to train my legs without heavy weights? If you're a bigger person, you're basically a walking gym, so you're working on your legs all the time, so you don't really need to do too much. Body weight exercises are really good if you are bigger, because you've got weight on top, but using dumbbells can load you up. Again, that's not heavy. Resistance band, adding them to increase some form of intensity definitely does help. Plyometric moves are pretty good for explosive power. But for me, it's like high reps, slow tempo with a kettlebell or a dumbbell or something like that. Just that's a manageable weight until you get to a point where you feel like that's too easy. Then we can start upping it to something a bit more heavy. How can I improve flexibility? I'm not naturally flexible. Again, we'll go back to what I said before. You've got to be able to be consistent with your stretching or your mobility work. Okay. Totally 100% needed to happen. Consistency is the key when it comes to stretching and mobility. If you want to do the splits, you can't do them straight away. You've got to ease into it, and it's timed under tension over time, right? So we're doing smaller movements to open up our muscle areas and stuff like that. So dynamic stretching work before workouts is really good. Static stretching after is really good. Yoga and Pilates are awesome for that type of thing. That's their core function, is to improve your flexibility, your core strength, and all the rest of it. So just don't force it. Just go gentle. Don't pop a muscle, because we all know how hard the recovery is on pulling a hamstring or a groin or something like that. So just take it easy. What are the benefits of cross training? Reduces the risks of overall overuse injuries by varying the movements. So you're not just doing a squat all the time. You're doing different types of movements. Helps build balance and increase your flexibility and core strength. Keeps workouts interesting. Mixing things up are really, really good. And it's also a great way to challenge your body in all forms of exercises. I like CrossFit because it challenges me across the board. Okay, across the board, and not just strength, endurance, flexibility, mobility, gymnastics, plyometrics, all that stuff. So I like that type of challenge. It's really, really fun. How do I maintain muscle while cutting calories? This is a great question, and it's something that's overlooked a fair bit. If you prioritize protein, we'll go back to one of the first questions we talked about. If you're hitting your 1.5 to 2 grams of protein per target body weight, you are eating enough protein to roughly keep your size or increase your size. Okay. How do I maintain it? We've got to do strength training. Lifting heavy weights helps retain your muscle. Try to avoid extreme calorie cuts. Gradual deficits are good, but don't do a big one, because then you're taking away a lot of calories, which is protein as well, and then you won't be giving your body enough to recover and increase size. The biggest one's enough rest to sleep. Enough rest and sleep. So we've got to make sure we're preserving our muscles as well. What's the best way to warm up before a workout? Look, there is no best way. Everybody is different. There are a ton of people that will go and smash themselves on the treadmill. There are a ton of people that do dynamic stretches or calisthenics type work. For me, if I'm going to do a strength training session, the first type of warm up that I will do is with the old dowel rod. A lot of just overhead movements and general moving into the movements that I'm going to do for that day. If it's squats, I'll do squats with it. It's just to keep myself in a balanced area. I do not do cardio before a strength session, because I don't want to waste that energy. I want to put my energy into lifting, and then I'll go into a bit of cardio at the end if I feel like I need to do it. But everyone's different. I feel like you've got to find a happy medium. I just don't want to overexert myself at the start because I want to use as much energy in my strength training that I can. So for me, and if you guys out there that have never done it before, I think the best thing to do is mimic the movements first with lighter weights that you're going to do. So if your program says it's squats, lunges, deadlifts, and a bit of shoulder work, so do low weighted versions of all those, body weight if you can, just to get yourself warm up, get enough blood flow to those areas, and then go and smash yourself. And then after, if you've got 15, 20 minutes spare, jump on the treadmill and exert yourself then. How do I avoid plateauing in my workouts? Cool. For me, it's changing it up every 6 weeks to 8 weeks if possible. Having a deload week is really, really important. Mixing up your intensity levels, so going to do some hypertrophy versus strength, maybe a little bit of endurance work, varying those. So maybe 4 weeks of strength, 4 weeks of hypertrophy, increasing your weights and decreasing your reps type thing. Focusing on progressive overload is important. Tracking your gym sessions so you know what you lifted last week and what you can do next week, so you can get that that muscle building area. And like do a few different things during the week. Okay, like do some HIIT workouts or jump on a bike or go for a swim or something like that, just to incorporate some sort of different type of training. It helps keep the mindset active as well. If we're doing the same thing over and over again, we can kind of get bored towards the end. I know for me, when I know I'm going into a new program, the last week of training is like, oh, fuck, I have to do this again. No, I get to do it. And then I have a deload week and then I get stuck into the new program and I get excited about it. What exercises should I avoid if I have knee pain? High impact exercises like jumping or deep squats or running and things like that are pretty much what I would avoid if I have knee pain. Like cycling is better for you, swimming, things like that take the weight off, leg extensions, something like that. But strengthening the support muscles around the knee area is much more important than going through the range of motion, okay? But for me, go and see a physio and get a proper program off them. That's the best way to recover from knee pain. Rest and recovery. How do I know if I'm fully recovered from a workout? Generally, you're no longer sore or fatigued on the muscles that you've worked. Okay, that's a good indication that you're recovered. Your energy levels start to feel stable. You're not as tired as you usually are. I find that if I'm also eating well, I tend to recover better. If your sleep and your mood are back to being regulated in some form or way, that's a good sign. But again, it's being consistent over time that's more important than just the one day of sleep, right? You need to have consistent, 6 or 7 days of 6, 7, 8 hours sleep if you can. Is there a benefit to foam rolling before bed? 100%. Yep, it can definitely help relax your muscles and give you a better sleep. Releasing tension is probably one of the best things you can do before you go to bed, so your body's as, I guess, relaxed as possible. It helps improve circulation, which aids in recovery. Obviously, we want to do with DOMS is push the lactic acid out as much as we can. So having your foam roller help pushing it out is really, really good. You want to reduce muscle soreness and be able to recover quicker, so you can get back in and do legs again or arms again, whatever's hurting. So for me, it's a good way of like a little bit of self-love, is giving yourself a good stretch or a good rollout session before you go to bed. How do I prevent workout from burning out? Okay, when you have rest days scheduled, rest. When you have rest days scheduled, rest. That's the number one thing you can do. Second thing is eat properly. Okay, eat properly will help you recover better and then avoid burning out. Vary workouts, have realistic goals, don't overcommit. And remembering that your health is a marathon, not a sprint. Okay, pace yourself. That's the best thing you can do from preventing from burnout. Now, for me, working out is really important to my mental health, so it has to be a non-negotiable in my life. But I'm also very wary of the fact that I can overtrain and then do myself a disservice for later on. So I'm super, super aware of that. What are the best ways to manage muscle soreness? Okay, we just talked about that. Gentle stretching, mobility work, yoga, Pilates are really good. Foam rolling is great. Massage guns are really, really good. Pressure socks and things like that are really, really good. But all that stuff is only good if you are consistent with it. Okay, it's not like you can go and put a pair of pressure bandages on and go, oh yeah, I feel great, and then the next day you feel like shit because you didn't wear them. You've got to be consistent with it. Same as ice baths and all that stuff. Okay, Epsom salt baths or magnesium salt baths are really, really good to help you relax and repair the muscles. But hydration and sleep and eating enough protein are more important. So let's get them first before we worry about ice baths and all of that shit. Make sure we eat enough protein, make sure we're getting enough sleep, and make sure we're getting enough hydration. And that will be the better way to help you recover from muscle soreness. How does stress impact recovery? Okay, stress releases cortisol, which can slow down muscle repair. Okay, so why is it important? Because we need to have the muscles repair. So if we're stressed out all the time and we're releasing cortisol, we're doing our body a disservice. Poor sleep, low energy, definitely are a stress delay recovery mechanism. If you haven't seen a counselor or somebody like even a breathwork specialist, mindfulness, breath work, getting a good hobby that you like are really, really good in terms of stress relief. For me, it's working out. I love the gym. I love my bike, my bike. I love CrossFit. It helps me de-stress. Putting my body through stress helps my mental stress. Okay, that's how I like to do it. But we've got to be able to slow ourselves down. So doing mind-numbing things in terms of not having to think, playing video games or watching TV or whatever it is that you like to do, that's mind-numbing, is a good way for relieving stress as well. All right, bit of mindset and motivation. How do I stay motivated if I'm not seeing physical results? It's not going to happen overnight. It's taken you 10 years to put on 20 kilos. It's not going to come off in 2 weeks. Okay, so we've got to look for the end result first. What's our goal? 20 kilos? Okay, let's go for half a kilo a week. So cutting our goals down to manageable and achievable will be a good start. Focusing on our non-scale victories. Our pants are falling off. Our energy levels are better. Our mood's better. Our strength's better. Family is noticing a big difference in your mindset. They're big motivators for keep going. Track small improvements in your workout. So little, increases in weight are a good indication that you are getting good results. But remember why you started, right? Health is a long-term thing. It's about the rest of your life. It's not about tomorrow. It's not about 5 minutes time. Staying motivated if you're not seeing physical results is about long-term. Okay, Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't get big over 5 minutes. He got to big over 10, 15 years and won all his titles because he was super consistent. So it's got to pay off by being consistent. Okay. What's the best way to build discipline and fitness? This is a really good question, and I think it's something that's super important. Make a realistic schedule that you can stick to, that you're going to set yourself up for success. That's probably the most important thing. Put your physical health in your diary like it's an appointment that you have to make. Make it a non-negotiable. That's number one. Finding a support network would be number two to help you build discipline for accountability, whether it's a coach, whether it's your partner, whether it's family or your best mate or an online community or something like that that'll help you be accountable. That's another way of making sure that you build discipline. Celebrating the small wins. Walking into a gym for some is a small win, or it's a big win too. But lifting a PR, getting your protein intake done per day, hitting your calorie target, like celebrate those small wins. It's fucking hard work to cut weight and to maintain, right? So celebrate those small wins or victories over time. Discipline grows from consistent action. Motivation only appears when we've got discipline. Discipline creates momentum. Momentum creates motivation. So don't look for motivation, look for discipline. If you're not motivated, you're not disciplined. How can I make fitness a family activity? Okay, pretty easy. Ask your kids and your partner what they like to do and do that thing. If it's walking, riding, swimming, beach, soccer, dance parties at home, whatever it is, do those things that people like to do. And you're going to have to sacrifice something that you like to do for their maybe mediocre type of activity, but that's just what it is being part of a family. Set family fitness challenges like step goals or things like that. That makes it fun. But being inclusive with your kids, when your kids get older, taking them to the gym with you, just show them what you're doing and how hard it is to work out. And then they'll realize how important health is for themselves. How do I avoid comparing my progress to others? Cut your eyes out. That's probably the first thing you need to do. Focusing on your own goals and celebrating your own victories is number one. Not relying on other people to pat you on the back. You've got to be your own cheerleader first and foremost. The next thing, remembering everyone's journey and body are different. So comparison can be the most misleading thing. Okay, you're the most important person in your life, not in everybody else's life. So thinking about that. Okay, validation is for parking. You don't need to be validated. You don't need to be validated. Okay, track your personal growth. Using your first photo and comparing yourself to the latest photo is a really good indication of how far you're going. But remind yourself that it's you. It's on you. You're the only person that's accountable for your transformation, nobody else. So if you're failing, it's because of you. It's not because of your friends, your partner, your coach. If your coach is giving you a program and you haven't followed it, that's on you. It's not on us. All right. Progress is individual. Consistency is what counts. Last question. How can I find enjoyment in my fitness routine? The best way is to do shit that you love doing and you'll rinse and repeat all the time. I like cycling, so I do that. I like CrossFit, so I do that. I like strength training, so I do that. I used to like running, so I do that. That's very nice to hear. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, so finding activities that you generally like and you don't have to force yourself are the best things to do. It's not a chore. When it's a chore, find something else. Okay. Mini challenges are really, really good. Progressive increasing in weights are really, really good. Beating your PR is really, really good. Listen to music or podcasts or work out with your friends to make it more fun. There is nothing better in my life than being challenged by other people that are the next level up from me. I do it with my cycling. There are people that I train with that are the next level up for me that keep me accountable. There are people at CrossFit that are 10 levels above me. But I look at them every week and I'm like, I'm going to be near you soon. I'm going to be better than you soon. And that's just my internal battle. So shifting your mindset to see that fitness or any form of activity like that is a form of self-care. It's not a task. Okay. So find the shit that you love doing and rinse and repeat. And then you'll guarantee that your fitness routine will become part of your life. Cool. All right. Well, thank you for joining us today. I really, really appreciate that. Lovely comment. I really love reading things like that. That's a beautiful thing to say. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions for me in the future, send me a DM. Be more than happy to help out. If you need a meal plan or you need a gym workout program, I'm happy to send you one for free to get you started. If you need some help or a kick in your ass to get back into shape, more than happy to help out on that sort of access as well. So let me know if there's anything I missed or if you want to fact check me on something, go for your life. But apart from